big match on the horizon against Chesterfield then. In terms of injury issues, how are you looking ahead of this one?
Yeah, we're a little bit better than we have been. The squad's in a good place, obviously from the last couple of games. This is our third game in a week coming up. But no problems from the last two games. We've had Sam Westbrook, James Maxwell back training the last couple of days. Whether Saturday comes too quick for them, we'll see. But yeah, we're starting to get better, starting to get more numbers on the training ground, which is really pleasing.
When you get bodies back or potentially back, knowing full well you're on the back of a 3-game week with another one in the not too distant future, how comforting is that?
We just want to keep everyone as fit as possibly can, really. I think it's been pleasing that we've managed to keep the majority of players in a good place. Obviously, this stage last season, I think we probably had 15 or 16 players in the treatment room. So there's a real contrast in that, which has helped us, in terms of everything, really. Numbers on the training ground, sessions better, performances, good, but can be better. So it's been a real positive that, and obviously getting players back is good for us as well. So it's a positive place to be.
Minded then to check on those that aren't necessarily ready yet. Where are perhaps the three principal injured players, Wood and Co, Richard Wood and Co?
Yeah, it's just Richard Wood and Tom Nixon is the next two to come back now. Tom was out doing a little bit as well this morning. Like I said, he recovered from his initial injury, but picked a calf injury up on the other side. So we're just managing that at the minute. He's probably still a week, 10 days away. Woody's still a little bit away. He's still he's out of the boot, which is pleasing. He's walking around fine. He's just building up his fitness in the gym. He's not been outside yet, so his next step will be to get outside and start moving again. So he's still a little bit away.
To just sort of shift sideways for a second, Keith Hackett was on Football Heaven last night and discussing the idea about whether football clubs should be able to appeal when footballers receive 2 yellow cards and ultimately then that becomes a red. I appreciate that sounds like quite the coincidence or timely in Doncaster Rovers' case, but what do you reckon about clubs being able to do that?
I think we should, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I've been really frustrated with some of the officiating this season, really. And it's just disappointing because, you prepare all week and you prepare your team and you're hoping the referees preparing the same way for you as well and know your players and understand who they're coming with and coming against and refereeing. And I don't think it happens. That's me being totally honest. And it'd be nice, because I do think there's a lot of cheap yellow cards given out these days, and particularly us, but over the last couple of games, I think the second one for Harry Clifton on Saturday at MK Dons is classed as reckless, which I think everyone, with a decent set of eyes on them can see that it's not. And Casper Williams, again, very good challenge. Watched it back numerous times now in the game on Tuesday evening against Man United, and he gets a yellow card on his debut, and it's like you just hope the referees do a wee bit of homework on who's playing in the games and sort of way look at it and things like that. But yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think I'd go with it. It would give us a chance to have players more available. I think if we can get off with it, so it's I'd be for that.
It's an interesting talking point, isn't it? Particularly in an age, well, possibly even longer than that, I suppose, where just the very idea of the volume of yellow cards in games seems to have just gone up over a decade more. Describe it how you like. The fact that there isn't that way of rescinding one or two, should it be arguable?
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's definitely a lot less leniency now, isn't there, in the officiating? Certainly wasn't like that when I played many moons ago, and it's always been a contact sport, football, and it's starting to go the other way. Really, it's starting to become more interceptions and any sort of contact now. It seems like the whistle goes. So it's the game is adapting, the game's moving forward and things like that. But everyone loved it back, when you can go in and have a proper 50-50 challenge. And, just back in the day, you think about the great characters in the day it was the part of their game. It's no more like that. It's a lot less leniency in terms of the yellow cards. But listen, I think it's trying to get the balance right, isn't it? It is a tough gig for the referees. Of course it is. It's no one's ever going to be happy. I think they're always going to have complaints into them every weekend about a certain decision or something that's gone against people. But we try and be consistent here. We don't just speak to the head of referees when we lose. We try and do it all. If we draw, we try and do it win, lose or draw, and try and get a reasoning behind things. And I've got to say they're really good in terms of when you speak to them and they give you the feedback. But it's always great after the Lord Mayor show, really. But it's important that we stay in communication with them. And then obviously at the start of the season, we always have these EFL meetings with the managers, etc. And we can vent our points across, our frustrations or whatever it may be. But hopefully we can be listened to as managers, and we can take it upon ourselves into games.
Can I just ask, before we move on to Chesterfield matters, because we're going to speak to him shortly, aren't we? Patrick Kelly and his development, 90 minutes for him the other day. How are you assessing his sort of baby steps forward with Doncaster Rovers?
A stop-start, I would say. When he came in the first couple of games he played, he was excellent. PK and Salford, Morecambe, Everton, 3 games I thought he played very, very well in. And then he's had the international break, which sort of hurt him a little bit. It's great for him to be called up, international recognition, and never stand in anybody's way that happens, particularly our players. And if we're looking after other teams' players, we it's not our call to stand in their way when they get called for international teams. But he's because of that, he missed 4 games. He missed the Port Vale game and the 3 after that. And that's knocked him, set him back a little bit, because it was interesting. We had Carlton Cole in today, who's the loans manager at West Ham, just come in to check on PK, etc. And we're just having a chat, and it's been a little bit stop-start for him, because he's used to playing one way at West Ham and how they work and how they press and stuff. He's used to a different sort of way at Northern Ireland under 21s, and then he's coming into a different way with us. So it's a lot to take for a young player, and but. What he's doing is he's learning all the time. We've got good communications with him and West Ham, so that we can help him in his development, because there's so many attributes to his game that we really like, and that's why he's here. I think you'd seen it on Tuesday night when he played, and certainly in the games he's played prior to that. His ability to drive past people with the ball, his ability to turn quick. He's a really good kid. He wants to learn, he wants to get better. But there's also elements of the game that we think we can improve him with. And that's what loans are for. That's what loans previously that I've taken are for. And we feel like we've got a staff here that can help him with that.
When he gets his head around all that, it's a hell of a development, isn't it? To essentially get used to 3 different ways of going about things. And the learning experience is invaluable. Yeah, and everyone's different. We're different here in terms of what Northern under 21s, how they approach it, and Northern Ireland under 21s are different to how West Ham will approach it. So he's got 3 ways of knowing, but that's all part of development, and it's he should use that as a positive, that he's seeing different aspects of the game and how teams want to go about their play. So it's he's a good kid. We just want to keep working with him. He's got a really bright future, and I know West Ham think really highly of him. So we want to keep nurturing him along. Work with his strengths and try and help him with little bits and pieces that we think that he can improve on. So next up, Chesterfield, localish rivalry. I can't think of all the motorways in between, but an excellent game in prospect. What do you make of Paul Cook's side right now? I think they're a very good team. It's when we're sitting analysing games and leading into games, and you see lots of these opposition, and obviously we've watched them quite a bit. They look very good. One of the best we've seen in terms of their style of play, how they play, the energy they've got, the players they have, and how they've recruited. There's a lot to like about them, and I think they're probably in a false position so far. I think they'll come strong. So I think it'll be a good game.
I really do. I think it'll be a good game. Really good manager, and Paul Cook knows what he's doing. Been there, done it. Promotions all over his CV. So we know exactly what we're coming up against. But you know, our focus has been straight away after Man United. As soon as we come back in, we're focused on this game, and we want to make sure that we get our house in order. You know, we get our plan in action, and making sure that we can go and hurt them.
Their MO is kind of very intense, great possession football, isn't it? And it's about dealing with that, isn't it?
Yeah, they're one of the best in the league in terms of possession. I think, not to count these top, Caden second, Chesterfield's third. I think we're fourth. They're a possession-based football team. You know, Paul's teams over the years have always been that anyway. He plays the game the right way. Probably why I've got a lot of admiration for him because of that. You know, he likes his teams to play probably similar to the way I like my teams to play in terms of on the ball, move the ball, energy, tempo, aggression. You know, I don't think we're too different in that sort of aspect and how we see the game. So I think it lends itself to a really good game. Busy stadium, full. You know, I hear the tickets are selling really well for the Donny fans, which is brilliant to hear. Chesterfield's obviously sold their allocation as well, so it lends itself to a good game. You know, if it brings it back to the games last season, the Barrow game, etc., and you've seen how busy the stadium was, and it's why we want to do it, and we want our stadium like that all the time. So looking forward to it.